Ready to go.
All right, here we go. And we're live here at the station of Decapitation Without Your Head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Terry Zarchi, the son of Meir Zarchi, who's the director of I Spit on Your Grave, and you've directed the documentary Growing Up, I Spit on Your Grave. You're the child in I Spit on Your Grave, and it's going to be very cool to talk with you.
All the above, yes, all the above.
You got a very cool background.
Thank you. It's my I Spit shrine.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I kind of thought it was good for the scenario here,
Yeah.
Get in the Halloween mood also.
That's true. And if people aren't familiar with the movie, the I Spit Shrine will sound very strange.
Yes. Yeah. And today we're not going to talk the shit. We're going to talk the spit today, right?
There you go.
All right.
It was really cool actually watching the documentary because I didn't realize that your father hated the rename of I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh, the remake?
The rename.
Oh, the rename. Yeah, I'll say the remake. No.
No.
The rename. Yes. He hated it. It's funny. He still doesn't like it till today. And my personal opinion is I couldn't imagine this movie without being that title.
Right.
I understand his good intention of calling it Day of the Woman. There was every good intention with what he perceived his film to be. But I Spit on Your Grave is just, you don't forget. You
just hear the name and it grabs you.
It does grab you.
Like I need to know what this is about.
Exactly. I spit on your what?
What is going on here?
Right.
So the 45th anniversary limited edition 4K ultra high definition 3-disc set is coming out October 26th.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Mouthful.
Ronin Flicks did an amazing job. They're a curated collector's website, and they did such a tremendous job on taking my father's negative of the movie, which I was actually really nervous about anybody taking the negative away from the laboratory, but of course you have to let things go and just trust the system. And about a month later, I get the negative back or so. And when I saw the results of what they did, I have never, ever seen the movie look so clean and pretty. It kind of takes the exploitation away from it,
Interesting.
If there is an exploitation factor to it, it looks so pretty and clean, like it could have been filmed last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy with what they did with the final upgrade.
That's an interesting point because in some ways that could possibly take away from certain movies.
Yeah. The dirty look. I mean, I've seen this movie many times on film. Mm-hmm. Hi, Troy.
The terrible one is.
How we doing?
All right, how you doing?
Excellent, thank you.
Great. We're talking about the cleansiness of what Ronin did to the new 4K master of the 78. And, I've seen this movie many times on a film print where it's been viewed hundreds of times and there's scratches and there's just dirt. And this movie really fits well with that type of a look.
Yeah.
And then to see it so clean, it's like, what is going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know I went and saw a 35 millimeter print of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
and
that's
it was very bad print, but it actually added to the feel of the movie.
Of course it does.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I assume the cleanliness of it adds like a new contrast to the film because it looks pretty, but then, awful things are happening.
It does. It really looks really beautiful. And then to see all this beautiful nature and the greenery and the trees and the Housatonic River and Camille Keaton, and then the ugliness that suddenly appears. It's in almost a 3D vision. It just really brings out the clarity of the ugliness, and it just comes more into your face. But I've never, like I said, I've never seen a better look of the movie in my entire existence. So Ronin Flicks, great job.
Yeah, and I love these kind of releases because they're loaded with specials.
Yeah, they did a special also where they sent someone to look at the old locations, and they have a beautiful slipcover. I mean, they did such a great job with it. And they kept Meir's commentary in there and Joe Bob Briggs' commentary.
Oh, nice.
You
Yeah, I
can't
love
go wrong.
yeah, because I'm a big fan of commentary tracks, and for a lot of releases, it's becoming a thing of the past. And the multiple commentary tracks, that's great for me.
It is. It is. Like I love watching a movie first, and then
Yeah,
hearing what they're saying about the behind the scenes. It just gets you
especially for a
more
movie,
involved with the backbone of the production.
for a movie people are really familiar with, and a lot of people have probably seen it multiple times. Then you get to see all these extra, bonus things, and then you get to hear the commentary tracks. It really adds another element.
Right. It does. It adds a lot. Yeah, sure does.
And I like the shirt too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. This is the Fright Rags came out with the 40th anniversary T-shirt, and this was the design that they came up with that my father approved. So we got Camille with the knife, and yeah, first time wearing it actually. They sent me a
I like
preview.
that one a lot.
I'm like, oh, today's the appropriate day to wear it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So 45th anniversary is the thing, and I turned 45 this year, so it's
Nice. All right, happy.
yeah. So I want to know, what did you do with the $10 you made on the original movie?
I probably bought some bazooka bubble gum or something.
Nice.
I mean, back in the days, they were what, 2 cents a piece.
Right. So you were doing well for a while.
I was, yeah. It was I went out to Connecticut with my mom and my sister, having no idea that I was about to be in this movie. It was just a day I was going to go out there and visit the set, and suddenly my sister comes up to me and we're going to be in the movie, and I'm like, oh no, we're not. I'm not. I was a scared, shy kid. And it took a lot of convincing. And before I knew it, there were like people around me trying to convince me. And then someone said to me, oh, your dad said he'll give you $10 if you'll be in the movie. And the crying went away. And I thought about all the bazooka bubble gum I can get. And I did it.
Yeah. Were you on set a lot for the movie? Because obviously it's not a movie. For a lot of the scenes, they probably want kids around.
No, I visited Connecticut a lot because my father, who was very good friends with Nuri Haviv, the cinematographer, whose house that was, I had been in that house many times. So we would go on weekends and visit, and I would always be kept away from the set. I would never be allowed anywhere near the set because there was always nudity or something going on that a 9-year-old really should not be looking at,
Yeah.
So I was kept away.
How old were you when you first saw the movie?
I was probably really about 15. I was in my father's office many times while he was editing the movie, and I would be in the other room playing with film cores, those little things in the middle of the film reel. And I had stacks of them. I would make little buildings out of it, and just my imagination would go wild with film cores. And I would hear in the other room this brutal, like screaming and cursing. And I'm like, what are they doing? What is going on in here? And then when I was about 15, one day I said to myself, I'm old enough to like watch this movie. And honestly, I was really shocked and appalled at what my father had made. I didn't know what to make of it. I was really like shocked and appalled. And my father reminded me something a few years back. He said to me, Terry, one day we had an argument, and then you cursed me and said, fuck you. You're a sick man for making that movie. I said, oh, did I really do that? I don't remember me doing that, but my father reminded me that I said, you're a sick man for making this movie.
Yeah. So. Has your view of the movie as a movie, has that changed over time? Like, what do you think?
It's changed a lot. It's really a tragic subject. Sexual assault is not Halloween, where it's okay to murder people and let's have fun with that. And you'll sit by your girlfriend and they'll cozy up and you want to just be all like, oh, don't worry, it's okay, But with this kind of a movie, it's not a date movie and there's nothing to be entertained by. It's brutal, it's ugly. I find it very truthful. It's hard to look at, but you can't take your eyes away. So really, there's a lot to be said about this film that it's not easily understood. And at first viewing, it's not easily understood. That's why I look at this like there's so much more to this movie, because after the screen credits roll, there's a discussion. And when there's a discussion, it's bigger than the movie itself because we're opening up a conversation about a topic that's rather not spoken about, and it happens a lot. So it's a brutal subject matter, and I kind of wished my father had never witnessed and rescued this lady coming from the woods. I wish that day never happened. I wouldn't be here right now talking to you. I wouldn't have this shrine behind me. It's so unfortunate that that happened, but it happens all the time. And my father got very angry about what he witnessed, the aftermath of rescuing this teenage girl from out of the woods, naked, bloodied, and bruised. He brings her to the police station. And there again, they're raping her with the system. Why were you in the park at this time? Why'd you take the shortcut? Why were you wearing that clothes? He got angry. And this is the results of his anger, was bringing sweet revenge to this sort of a story.
I thought kind of what you're talking about there, when you first watch it, you thought it's it's an awful movie. And then, as you get older, you look at it differently. And I thought it was really interesting in your documentary that you talk to a lot of fans of the movies, because then you get, why does it stick with people? Why do they like it? And there was a couple things in there that, maybe other people might have cut out of the documentary, because I remember specifically, there was one guy who was saying he was in the theater watching it, and there was a crowd like cheering on the rape scene.
Yeah.
And, so there are some negative, aspects of the people who watch a movie. So
exactly.
You gave, all the sides there. It's very honest.
I have to be fair and balanced. And this movie has a lot of hate and it has a lot of love. The people either embrace it or they are sickened by it, or both. I'm both. I'm sickened by it, and I also embrace it. I really believe that the filmmaking, although it's attacked a lot because the subject matter is easy to attack, I really believe the filmmaking here is actually really hardcore great. And what I mean by that is the cinematography is actually beautiful. I believe it's really well directed in a sense that it's so powerful, we're still here talking about it. I've seen a lot of really shitty movies on Netflix and Tubi that I can't get through 10 minutes. And I want to. I desperately love movies, and I know how hard it is to make movies. And I want to love everything I watch, but some of these movies are really hard to get through. This movie's hard to get through because it's visually assaulting the viewer, But in all retrospect, it's actually a very well done movie, but it's hard to see that. It's hard to see that with what's happening on the screen, in my opinion.
No, I actually agree. And former co-host on the show, Annabelle, when we had Camille Keaton on the first time, she talked about, it was really hard for her to watch, as a woman.
Right.
Obviously having a different look onto it. But what do you think it is about? Because, it's 45 years ago, so all kinds of movies have come since. There's been more graphic movies. What is it about I Spit on Your Grave that gets, not only people still watch it, but it gets a new audience?
It's a really good question. I've never really thought about what my answer would be, but off the top of my head, I think this. I think a lot of sexual assault films are very exploitative in a sense of like, they're titillating you with the woman's body. And in I Spit on Your Grave, although Camille Keaton is fully naked, there's no sense of titillation there. It seems very real and frightening and ugly. And I think somehow Meir achieved that, which is hard to do when you have a female naked on the screen. It's hard to look at a female and not think that, oh, the director's only trying to show her body. Take a look at her body. I look at Camille, I look at her bruised face, and I just think, oh my God, like, look at her, like the way she's walking. And so to me, he took away the exploitative nature of the female nude body in front of you, and he made it look realistic rather than titillating. And I think there was some achievement with that gives it, to me, something that has shelf power, has staying power, and why other movies get forgotten about. I watched a couple of movies recently. I forgot the titles, but there was some rape in the movie, and it was very like titillating. They were showing close-ups of the breast, and I'm like, wait, this is so wrong. This is not the way it should be. So maybe if that's the way I can answer it,
Yeah, and those kind of things, it's almost like through the eyes of the rapist, like why that, and it's a, like you said, just makes you feel wrong watching something like that.
It does. Yeah.
And not that this movie is necessarily a feel good movie, but
No.
I do agree that it's dealt with it
it's not. Yeah. What I find interesting is how the 78 film has Jennifer Hills bringing on her revenge with her body as a weapon. She's using her body as a seduction. And in the remake, Sarah Butler as Jennifer Hills uses these contraptions to give these people their almighty ending, but she doesn't use her body. So I find that very interesting that there's different aspects to the modern Jennifer Hills and the original Jennifer Hills,
It's the you said earlier, because I said rename and you thought maybe I said your dad didn't like the remake, but what did he think of the idea of remaking it even before he saw the movie? Like, who came and said like we should remake this, and was he on board right away, or did he
No, he wasn't on board right away. He wanted to do the sequel for the longest time, and somehow the remake got into the discussion, and he somehow got convinced that, this is the way to go. They've already remade other horror titles, and that just gave him the green light to say, let's just do this, Then they did a part 2 and a part 3. And at that point, they were talking about doing another installment. And my father really wanted to do Deja Vu. So we held back, and he went ahead and did Deja Vu instead. So that became the 5th installment in the franchise.
I remember the first time we had Camille Keaton on, it was years ago, and she was talking about Deja Vu. And so we assumed it was coming out like right. And it was, we had her a couple times after that, and she always talked about it. And I kept thinking, in my head, I really thought, like, I don't think this movie's actually real. Like, I think it, and then, but it seemed like such a long time in the making before it actually was.
It was a long time in the making. We filmed it in 2015, and it was released in 2019. It was a long time in the making. We filmed for 29 days. It wasn't a quick little 12-day, fast thing. It was 29 days. And I was editing this movie for, I think it was 17 months or something. I wasn't side by side with my father because we kill each other if we were, I love him and he loves me, but a side by side with my father all day long, it was impossible. So I would edit from my home, right here in this little space here. I would edit right here, and every time I would finish a little whatever I had, I would Dropbox it to him, hightail it to him, and then he'd give me his notes. I would do the changes. I sent it to him. He'd give me his notes, and that went back and forth thousands of times for 17 or so months, until I finally finished the movie. And then I saw, oh my God, this movie's 2.5 hours long. What happened?
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to watch it, and I was like, oh, this seems like a very long runtime for.
It's a long runtime, but that's how Meir wanted it. That's how he wanted it. He got what he wanted. It's his baby. It's his platform. We were all there for him, the cast, the crew, every day on the set. I was there for him in post. Jan O'Connell, our line producer, was there with us every step of the way, including till this very day. We had a great team with us throughout the whole way. Yeah. Great team.
Were you on set a lot for Deja Vu?
I produced it. I was there every second of every single scene. Possibly the first one there, and not the last to leave, but almost the last to leave every day. So
I just wondered, you said side by side with your dad wouldn't work out for editing. What was it like, on set when you're filming it?
Look, I mean, we all have our little moments, but all in all, it was very respectful. We trusted that Meir knew what his vision was, what he wants to get out of the performers and out of the days. Every location was handpicked by Meir. Every costume, every prop. We would go to the prop house with me and Jan and Meir, who would pick the props. I've got this little sickle back here. This is the sickle that Jamie used, but this is not the one she used in the movie. This is the one she used for the poster. So I keep this right here, And but yeah, he was there. Meir was there every step of the way for every aspect of Deja Vu.
Oh, by the way, Jamie Bernadette, multiple time guest on the show too, and she's great in Deja Vu.
Jamie Bernadette is incredible. Maria Olsen is
we love
powerhouse in her own right. She sent an audition in, and it literally blew me away. It was a self-taped audition. It blew me away. And I got my wife and I go, Julie, you check this out. What do you think of her as Becky? And my wife's like, oh my God. So everybody had this reaction. And then when Maria came in to do auditioning in person, we all knew right away she was Becky. Yeah. And Jamie Bernadette just kills it. She kills it.
Yeah.
Camille Keaton, and everybody. Jim Tavari as Herman. Jonathan Pesci as Kevin. Jeremy Ferdman as Scotty, and Roy Allen, Alexandra Kenworthy, Hoagie Forster. They all really came together and created this loony bin of a family society in this small town.
Mm-hmm. And Maria Olsen. She adds a lot of sympathy to the character, because it could be just a totally, very mean, which she is, but, in the movie character. But there's also, you also understand why she's doing what she's doing.
Yes, exactly. She's almost like the male version of Johnny. She took on, I've got the cap here. This is the cap.
Yeah.
And this is the exact same cap, but not the same physical one, but this is the type of cap that Johnny wore. So Maria Olsen is wearing the Johnny cap, and she takes on, she's almost like she is the ringleader of the group, basically. Yeah. I found that really fascinating that Meir did that.
And it really goes into the idea of, this being a cycle.
Yes.
The violence, even if it's warranted violence, it still, brings about more violence.
Exactly. It's a never ending. I mean, that's what revenge is, right? It's never ending.
Yeah.
The last person killed, there's people that love that last person, and they're going to go and get their little get back, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like, it just doesn't end.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Johnny. It's interesting in your documentary, Eron, I believe his name.
Yeah.
That he quit acting after I Spit on Your Grave.
Yes, he did.
And he's real. You're watching the movie again. I've seen it, but watching it for the interview, he's really good in that movie. He's, he adds a lot to the character. It's interesting him talking about adding his own backstory, which gives a little bit more. You just look at the character a different way, and I think a lot of his performance where he's not even talking, I think he's really good. Just his
exactly. He really did nail it in his performance, and I was very intrigued to see how Gunter Kleeman at the end of my documentary. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but anyway, how he says he embraces it and that he can take it to his grave, that he was part of a cult classic. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, Aaron Tabor, aka Ron Shetler, he said he would never want to revisit this movie again. And to me, I was shocked to hear that, but it was very intriguing because that's how powerful this film is. Film is just celluloid. Film, what's powerful about it is the story and what the director does with his vision that he achieves in the end. And so it was that powerful that he didn't want to even revisit it. I was like, wow, that says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it was good that he did the interview because, obviously the movie affected him and he doesn't look on it necessarily, in a good light if he doesn't want to revisit it. But I respect that he did the interview and talked about it.
Me too. Originally, I was going to call my documentary because I was going to just film my father and just make a thing about him. I was calling it "I Spit on Your Grave," the man and madness behind it all. And then after about a year of me like playing around, editing, I said, I got to get Camille Keaton. Then Camille came on board. And then I said, I got to try to get the other actor. And before you know it, I have how many talking heads in the movie? I've got a lot of people talking, including fans. I thought the fans were very important.
I thought that was a really cool aspect of it, especially for this movie, because it is interesting. Like, because a lot of non-horror fans anyway will think you're weird if you like horror movies. I've come into that. And then this movie specifically, it does ask, like, what are the people like who like this movie?
Exactly.
If you go back like to the Ebert and Siskel and Ebert review, they basically say that they're almost saying like would-be rapists or the people who are watching this movie.
I know. I really believe Ebert and Siskel experienced this movie through the eyes of the rather rude, disruptive audience that they were sitting with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that maybe even if they had seen this movie alone in a room, they might have still been offended. But I believe the comments from the audience members, while the girl was getting raped, saying, "Get her, do it again," and all this nasty stuff, it really put a bad taste in their mouth. But they're a big part of the history of this film because they literally went and picketed in front of theaters, and they were powerful enough to get the movie kicked off the screen by the theater owners.
Yeah, it's back then not so. Now it's different. I was going to say like critics aren't necessarily powerful today, but I do think word of mouth it can help a movie.
It
with
does,
the critics.
Yes. But back then, those two critics had a lot of power back then.
For good and bad, because I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert. I watched it every week, and I heard of a lot of movies that I might not have ever seen otherwise.
Exactly.
They didn't get ads, but I was always a horror fan, and they would get almost comical to me how upset they would get at some horror movies. I remember like Friday the 13th Part 4, which is really kind of a silly horror movie, and they got really upset. They were like, kids are going to watch this and they're going to think this is what life is all about. And I'm thinking, no one's going to watch, Friday 13th Part 4 and think this is like real life. That
right
going to come, because that's not a realistic. Where I Spit on Your Grave is that's a realistic movie where Jason movie isn't,
Right, exactly. And that's why in the UK they had the whole video nasty ban because they thought people were going to, commit these, atrocious crimes from the movies that they were watching, And they still have censorship issues in the UK, which I'm surprised about. We still have about 2 minutes plus cut out of the 78 movie in the UK in 2021. I mean,
yeah. And I think Germany's really bad because we have some listeners in Germany, and Vera, one of our, she has to go to Austria, I think, to get like the uncut versions of or maybe even just the movies at all.
Our movies in Germany, I don't know if it's uncut there or not. I'm not sure about that. But there's still censorship issues going on in certain places. We're lucky here in America not to have that.
Yeah. Also interesting about Siskel and Ebert. Some friends with Mark Scheffler from Last House on the Left, and he always credits them. Really, I think Ebert especially really putting the movie over, like giving it a great review. And then people went to see it. And it's interesting because it's very similar subject matter. And one he says is a great movie, and the other one he like condemns as possibly the worst movie ever made.
Exactly. As my father said in the documentary, it just brought more attention to the title because people wanted to see what they were referring to. And as you saw in the doc, they campaigned it even on Oprah. They went on Oprah. I mean, they literally, everywhere they could open their mouth about the worst movie ever made, they would say, "I Spit on Your Grave."
Yeah.
And I would always say, wow, these guys, don't they realize they're just promoting the movie? I mean.
Oh, yeah. I remember as a kid when they would say that kind of stuff about, I remember the Christmas movie, they were really against. What's the poster art is Santa Claus?
I remember I know what you're talking about.
With the axe coming out.
I got a lot of bad feedback. Yeah.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. But I mean, that made me as a kid want to watch the movie because they were saying
exactly. And now the whole thing with Halloween Kills and the scene about the firemen getting killed. Yeah. I mean, all that does is it's bringing more bank to the producers. I mean, when you start talking about that, people want to go see it. And now they're bringing more attention to this movie because of this, whatever it's going on there. But look, people have the right to get angry over anything and say what they want, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. So you called the documentary growing up with I Spit on Your Grave. So how big of a part of that, just being, your father making that movie, how much did that affect you as a kid? Like, did other kids know he made it? And did that?
Yeah. It didn't. It didn't really affect me in any other way other than from time to time, some people heard about the movie and they heard terrible things about it, but they didn't see it, so they would be like, "Oh, your father made that movie,"
Right.
But then later in life, in my 20s, it started getting a little bit more like, "Oh, your father made that movie." So it went from like a disgust to like an impress, and some in between also. Till this day, I get, mostly it's good feedback, but I had a good friend that I showed this movie to 3 years ago, and he told me he was completely shocked and disgusted by it. He said he wanted to vomit. I said, well, that's exactly what the mayor was trying to make you do, is to see how ugly rape is, to see how ugly it is. So I still get interesting feedback.
My personal opinion on a movie or art of any kind is if it evokes an emotion, even if it's a negative emotion, it's doing its job.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, not everything I think should be happy, and because
exactly.
Not everything in life is happy.
Exactly, especially a subject like this. So yeah, what are you going to expect?
Right.
And it's not tamed down.
It would be more strange, I think, if it was a happy movie,
Right. And it's not tamed down Hollywood style, where a woman's getting raped and you see her hand holding a curtain and the curtain snaps off and then we cut to black. No, he's showing you one scene and you think it's done, and then it's a second and you think it's done, and then it just doesn't end. So, by that time, you just feel emotionally depleted. And by the time the revenge comes into place, you really do root for her,
Oh yeah.
You really do root for her.
Mm-hmm. It's a good character arc for her, because really she's a strong character even at the beginning of the movie, but she
is a strong character. Yes.
AJ in the chat, he says he really actually liked the remake. He obviously thinks the original is the best, but he also really liked the remake as well.
Great. Awesome. I liked the remake too. I thought they did a great job with it. I did question why they didn't have Jennifer Hills seduce. That was like my main. I was like, well, that was a big deal in the original, that she used her body to seduce these scumbags, into their trap. But there was different kind of traps here, so it all worked out.
Yeah.
And it's good that it's a little different. They added the sheriff. And they modernized it with the whole cell phone falling into the toilet, and et cetera, et cetera.
In modern movies, you always have to find a way to get rid of the cell phones.
Yes, exactly.
I do like it better in movies when you didn't have to worry so much about a cell phone, because
that's right.
Or it's either if they don't show them, you're sitting there thinking, well, why don't someone just call on their cell phone?
Right.
But that's a really powerful scene in the original I Spit in Her Grave, when she's calling and the guy comes in and kicks the phone, because you really feel like
it is
about to get help, and then no.
It is. That's definitely a jump scare. That's definitely a like, whoa.
Yeah. And it was also really cool in the doc. It was really nice, actually. A touching moment when your father calls Nuri on the phone, and then they talk for the first time in 20 years, I think it said.
Yes, exactly. You can tell that they were like almost like blood brothers by the way they were, recommunicating and reconnecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, people probably know this, and might not, but your dad was married for a few years to Camille.
Yeah, for a couple of years.
Yeah. So what was your relationship like with Camille? Did you consider, was she like your mom at any point?
She was my stepmom. She became my stepmom. She was really, really good to me. As I said in my documentary, I enjoyed showing her off to my friends, She was just really a lot of fun. I don't have one bad thing to say about Camille in any way whatsoever. She always let me be who I am, and she cared for me. She was there for me. And I just spoke to her this morning, and so we're constantly in touch. So I love Camille. I adore her.
Yeah, she's always been really nice to me. I'm not like close friends with her, but I've talked to her on the phone off the air, and she's always very fun too. I think just a fun.
She is. She's got that Southern belle kind of thing going on,
Yeah. And she's a little quirky, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way though. In a good way. Yeah.
So are you well, obviously you have the ultra high def coming out, but are you working on any other projects?
Yeah, I am. I'm there's going to be more spit to come. There will be more spit to come, but I've got another movie that's going to be coming out on streaming soon that I actually directed. This is the other way around. My father directed Deja Vu and I produced it. Mm-hmm. Well, I directed Holy Hollywood in 1998. My father produced it, and along with another producer, Jeff Olin. And we had some distribution problems back in those days. It was hard to get distribution. So the movie ended up going in a closet. And so recently I reconnected with my partner, Jeff Olin, and we decided, let's get this out there. So right after July 4th, I got the master made into digital and I did a re-edit. I took out 12 minutes. So I've got a new cut on it. It's going to come out very soon in streaming. And Camille has got a little cameo in it.
Oh, nice.
Mickey Rooney plays the grandfather.
Oh, awesome.
And Tony Tarantino is one of the leads in it. He's Quentin's father. So we got a lot of quirky little things going on in this movie that when I saw it for the first time a few months ago, I was like, hey, why is this movie sitting in my closet? I got to get this out of here, into the world. So look out for Holy Hollywood.
Oh, very cool. I'm looking
forward to that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
When it's streaming somewhere, let us know, and
I will. I'll definitely send you a link.
Yeah.
We're doing that through Film Hub, and so far Film Hub has been really good.
It's really cool. I personally love to go see the movies in the theater when possible, but it's also nice that the rise of streaming, because there's so many different platforms for cool older stuff, independent stuff, international stuff, just so much more stuff than you could have seen back in the day.
Exactly. So things have changed so much with distribution that now we have the power to control it with our fingertips as independent filmmakers. There's options. And so with that, Holy Hollywood will get out there and it will be seen. And I'm very happy about that.
But who'd you say put that shirt out? I just wonder where people could get it.
This was through Fright Rags.
Fright Rags, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they discontinued it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but, I think most of their shirts are limited.
It was cool. Limited. Yeah, it was a lot limited.
Of them. Sometimes I'll look them up on eBay, and they're very expensive. But
yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah,
people collect old shirts, which is interesting.
They sure do. I know. Yeah, they did this one. They also did the regular style with the poster, which every shirt is anyway. But I thought this was a little bit different. I thought it was kind of like cool. Camille's holding the knife. It's like,
yeah. The first time I ever met Camille was at a Mad Monster convention, and my booth was across the aisle from her, and we talked a little bit. And I remember a fan came up, and he had a full back tattoo of "I Spit on Your Grave." And
heavy,
kind of like your movie. Of like, I'm not really sure what to think about this. Like, it's cool. They really likes the movie, but it's a weird movie to have like a full back tattoo of.
Yeah. Someone sent me a picture of that. I think on his ankle, he had like a tattoo of the poster. And I was like also fascinated that,
and I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just
no. It's to me, it shows that they're just a fan of the film. And in the end, it is a movie. To me, I like to celebrate the filmmaking aspects of what my father's movie is and what this little movie became today with being a franchise and T-shirts and whatever. It's like that to me is celebrating the filmmaking aspects of it. But when you talk about the hardcore subject, it's a whole different story.
Now, a lot in the documentary about the troubles getting it distributed. The original I Spit.
Oh yeah.
Spit on Your Grave. And do you remember that time? Like, were you old enough to realize they're having a lot of trouble here trying to get this movie out?
I knew nothing. I didn't, I went to Florida with my father and Camille when they went to the Miami Film Festival. At the Miami Film Festival, that's where a rep from Jerry Gross organization saw the movie and came up to Meir and Camille and said, "We want your movie." And at that time, it was called Day of the Woman. Well, I went to Florida. I stayed with some friends or something while they were at the festival. I had no idea about anything that just happened, behind my back over there at the festival. And sure enough, Jerry Gross did pick up the movie under the condition that he can change the title and change the campaign, which he did. And then he hires a young Demi Moore, takes her to Griffith Park, pays her a little cash, and there she is on the cover, which she finally admitted in her 2019 memoir. Finally, it came out from her camp. Yeah. Finally, after me showing all that proof of my documentary, which is so painstakingly hard for me to have done, that little segment showing to prove that it was Demi Moore on the cover. Yeah. It was so painstakingly hard for me to just come up with that. And I was like, yes, I proved it's Demi. And then a few months later, her book comes out. And I was like, okay, good.
It was funny because it might have been from the document. I remember for a few years it was the rumor.
It was a big rumor.
It popped up, just on the internet out of the blue, and then
nobody believed it.
Yeah.
And then I asked my father many, many years ago, is that Demi Moore? And he goes, yes, it is. I said, how do you know? He goes, I know. I'm just telling you it is. I'm like, but how do you know? He's like, Terry, I know it is. And then I forgot the story he told me. And then by the time I made my documentary, I found out about that other guy, the whole coincidence with the guy asking for my father's autograph, and which is in my doc. But it was really fascinating that it really is her. It just brought more intrigue to this little film that everyone's trying to bury, at least back then,
Right. Yeah.
Strange, just strange.
Yeah. Have you done a lot of conventions?
I've never done a convention.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Never. I've never done a convention.
Yeah. Because I know your father doesn't do a lot of interviews, but has he done any of the conventions?
He doesn't. No, he was invited to a convention. I don't know. And they were going to pay him XYZ amount of thousands of dollars and what. Yeah. And he's like, Terry, you go instead. I said, they don't want me. I said, they don't want me. They want you. He goes, no. He goes, I don't. I said everything I wanted to say. I've already said, And so, and then even after my documentary, I've had people contact me. Oh, would your father be willing to be in my documentary? And I do ask him every time. And he's just like, Terry, I've said everything I wanted to say in your documentary. So,
well, that's good. You've got an exclusive.
I got the exclusive. Yeah.
I'm glad that he gave you. It would be bad if he gave someone else the exclusive, and then he was like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do your documentary."
Yes. I'm so glad I was able to do it because I really believe I gave a really personal point of view, and that nobody could have told the story the way I told it. Like I always had the story in my head. Like whenever people ask me, "Oh, tell me about your father's, success with I Spit in the Grave," so I had this whole story in my head, but the beautiful thing about my doc is that I somehow found other people to tell my story in their own words, and it was just beautiful seeing a whole line of amazing, talented, incredible people speaking about the story that was literally in my head that I've read about, that I've heard about. And then there it is all in 100-minute, run. And so I was so pleased and honored that everybody that got involved, what they said, including BJ Colangelo, boy, has she been through a lot. And she was very honest about what had happened to her as a teenager and how I Spit in the Grave actually helped her. I was shocked to hear something like that. And Camille tells me a lot of times that at conventions, women come up to her and say that I Spit in the Grave helped me so much. And I'm amazed by that. I never expected to hear anything like that.
Yeah. No, it's good. I know I spent a little bit earlier talking about some of the negative aspects, but horror in general, there's for the most part, I always see very positive fans. They're very accepting of other fans, and it's just a positive experience.
Exactly.
Are you a horror movie fan?
I am. I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre a few days ago for the first time in
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
10 years.
Yeah.
And my father took me to see that movie when I was 15. It was
Mhm.
playing at some theater. He had a office on Broadway and 47th. There was a theater next door. He goes, Terry, I heard a lot about this movie. Let's go look at it. So we went together. I was 15. We're watching Texas Chainsaw. I came out of the movie like, wow, this was great. And my father loved it. Well, I just recently revisited it. And you know what? What an incredible, ahead of its time film in so many ways. And the last 5 or 10 minutes in that scene with him outside with the chainsaw, I mean, how powerful is that? So I was blown away by it. I love that movie.
And the last few minutes there, where it's really like the descent into madness with Marilyn Burns, and when people talk about Scream Queens, I don't think it's hard to top.
That's hard to top her. Yes. Well,
If you
Camille
really
did a good
believe
one at
she's
The Rock. Camille did a big screen at The Rock. I have to say that.
Yeah.
But that Texas Chainsaw does have a high up there scream.
Along those lines, do you think Camille, in a lot of ways, is like the first, like the prototype of the final girl? Because not only is she the final girl, but she's also the one that she gets the revenge at the end.
Exactly.
Where sometimes it might be the survivor, but they're just the survivor. They're not necessarily, killing, the villain in the movie, but Camille does. So
yes,
like almost the prototypical final girl.
Just like, Carol Clover in her Men, Women, and Chainsaws book, she has a very beautiful section on I Spit in the Grave and expressing her feelings about it and stating about the final girl, But Camille is definitely a final girl. She was the only victim, but she became a survivor, and she is, she's a survivor, basically. It's what she is,
Yeah. Until deja vu, but I will not give anything away. People.
Yes, I know. I'm not responsible for that. Okay,
right.
I just produced it and edited it. That's. I also reprised my role as me and my sister Tammy. We reprised our roles. But the funny thing is, I had better coverage in the '78 film. Because this, it's funny. That particular
Did you get paid the same $10 or?
No, I don't know if I got any. I think I got a little something, but anyway, that particular day we had filmed not just the far shot that you see at the end of the movie of me and my sister scene. We did close-ups, turnarounds, this angle, that angle, all over the place. We shot for 8 or 9 hours, me and my sister. And I was nervous in the beginning, but by the end of the day, I was getting the hang of it, all these takes, By the end of the day, I was really bummed out that it was over. I was like, hey, I got the acting bug. This is really cool. I'm always like either behind the camera or editing. So I really enjoyed that. But the funny thing is, I had a whole scene that I edited that was all close-ups of me and my sister. And then he said, he came back, it was Terry, let's try one shot from way, I'm like, okay, here we go. That was the end of that,
So have you done any other acting for other people or?
No, I have not. No. In Holy Hollywood, I'm at the very end of the closing credits, a little funny little thing. If you wait around for the credits, you'll see me. But nowadays, a lot of people they zip away. But if you have patience, I'm actually appearing at the closing credits as a young 31-year-old. That was back in '98, So
how did you get into
no acting for me?
All right. No. How did you get into editing? Was that something you picked up from your father? Or?
Yeah. Which, by the way, I edited Holy Hollywood on a 16 millimeter Steenbeck. Okay, it took me 9 months. I edited it by hand on a Steenbeck. What a pain in the ass, but that's all I knew. Okay, so growing up in my father's office, he had a couple of 35 millimeter Steenbecks, and I would just take old film prints and I would just have fun and I was so fast. I was like able to load up that Steam Deck in like 5 seconds, and I knew the whole thing inside and out. So I was editing from a child on film, and then of course I started editing digitally. And thank goodness for digital editing. Thank goodness. I don't miss film editing, but I will say there's something about touching film, something about film in itself and shooting film, deciding what film stock to use for exterior night or interior day. And there's different looks. And, now to manipulate that with digital, it's still challenging, but there's something about film that I'm so glad that I had the experience to have a hands-on feel with that. I really feel like I'm part of the old school crowd that a lot of millennials don't have any idea about film, and it's easy for anybody to make a movie nowadays. You have a camera, call yourself a director. And God bless that, because we have more, movies coming out, and some of them are good, a lot aren't, but at least we're getting more content. And back then you had to be sort of a filmmaker. You had to know the technique of film. It wasn't just easy to go make a movie. You had to know people that knew how to be a production manager or how to light, how to do sound. Now, Craigslist it, you'll find people,
Yeah. Do you think that background in actual film also helps in the digital editing? Like you kind of, the digital editing, you might just hit buttons, but you kind of know what they're doing because you have the background in the.
There's something about film. I always looked at every time that I was cutting a frame in film and then cutting the piece out, putting it on my little bin, and then reconstituting it, and then watching my cut. That takes about a minute. It's about a minute. Once you're fast at it, maybe 35 seconds, that gives you time to think about your next cut. So I always looked at that little time that I'm splicing, and that to me was my downtime for my brain to think about my next cut. Now with digital, everything is like, it's so fast that your brain has to work as fast as your fingers, so, not to say that you can't do without the old school technique, but I'm so glad that I had that. I'm so glad, because I was one of the last people, in 98, I edited on a Steam Deck. That's kind of rare, so I'm glad I have that in me, because it was an interesting process,
Yeah.
Slow, tedious process.
Mm-hmm. So this last year, obviously a different year for everybody. I hope you and I hope your dad and your family stayed safe. And
thank you.
You're very welcome.
You too. I hope the same with you.
Yeah, everything's good with Troy and I and our mom. But
great. We'll get past this.
Did that put anything in the back burner, or did that affect anything you guys were working on?
No, really, it didn't. In my point of view, it gave more people an opportunity to see the movies because there were a lot of shutdowns.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it like the timing was really lucky. The movies got released in 2019 in April. My documentary, Deja Vu, and the 78, it all came out at the same time again. And it was a year before the pandemic. So I was really grateful that I had gotten all that done with, and that people were pretty much around to see these movies more than not. So the timing was okay, actually. Although I wish it had never existed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we all do. So where can people go to follow, what's going on in the world of Spitz?
Yeah, okay. So I could be followed on Instagram, Terry Zarchi. Twitter, it's Zarchi Terry. We have a website, ispitonyourgravemovies.com. YouTube channel, I Spit on Your Grave Movies. You can see trailers of all the films, including Holy Hollywood, on I Spit on Your Grave Movies website. Subscribe, like, all the above, follow, and we'll always announce new things coming up. I'll put links to Holy Hollywood as soon as I get a platform. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me. It's been fun.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh yeah,
it's very fun to talk.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again when Holy Hollywood is
I would love that. I would love that. We have another character in Holy Hollywood called Candy Warhol, played by Danny Warhol, aka Dan Zukowski, who was the pizza boy in Home Alone.
Oh,
And
nice.
Wow.
You have got to see this character in this movie. Amazing. And the whole cast is amazing in this film. Tony Leach, Timothy Muscatel, everybody. But I look forward to getting this out. I would love to talk with you guys about this down the road.
Yeah,
and I appreciate really the time that you guys have given me.
Coming on. And AJ Zyler here says we want more spit. So
you're going to get more spit. We're going to give you a big mouthful of spit. Don't worry. But things take time in the indie world. Things take time, but we'll get it out there.
I guess during this time, giving you more spit does take on a different meaning, but
it does. Yes, it does.
Well, it's been very fun.
Thank you, Neil.
Yeah,
thank you, Troy. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Please tell Trista that we missed her, but she
we
was here in presence. And
she had some internet problems. She was texting me before the show, so. But we'll get her next time, and we'll have to get a new team because we have Treacherous, Trista, Terrible Troy, and we'll have to think of something for Terry.
Well, how about Tombstone Terry?
Tombstone
Terry. All right, I like that.
All right.
That works.
The Grave, Tombstone.
Right. Yeah, it all works. It all comes together.
I don't know if that's just for today or if I can call myself that, but I thought that's maybe appropriate.
Yeah, we won't take ownership of it.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate
it. You guys take care. I'll see you. I'll see you on social media.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. We might Troy, do you have anything you want to talk about before we go?
Any movie
So this actually tonight Halloween Kills was released. I haven't heard. I'm avoiding all the any talk about it because I like to see it and see what people think about it. I was really looking forward to the last Halloween, then I saw it and I was not a fan.
Same here.
And the ads for this trailers for this looks really cool. But I'm sure hopefully it'll probably let me down. But I'm gonna still go see it because I go see pretty much every movie that comes out.
I'm probably going to be just the opposite because my expectations are really low. So whenever I do end up seeing it, which it may be a while, maybe it'll be better than I think.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I will say this: there will be a dinner and a movie about the new Halloween.
Oh, excellent! I look
4
forward
years.
to that.
The last one was 4 years ago, and we did 2 new ones. They're up on right here on this YouTube channel. So you subscribe. And hit the little bell icon. So that bell icon, it'll give you notifications every time that we're all here going live. It'll also notify you every time there's a new video. So you can check
Which
that
is
out.
Good because you kind of sneak them in every now and then.
Yeah,
when
of
you least
course.
Expect it.
So you can check out. We did dinner and a movie on Lamb, and we did a dinner and a movie on Malignant.
Both of them very good. I watched them both.
AJ Zyle wants to know our thoughts on the new Chucky series. I haven't watched it, but I've seen a lot of people really like it. So I'm going to try to check this out. Maybe we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, I'll do the same then.
I think we've never had a lot of Child's Play guests on the show. It's probably
that's
hard to
true.
get maybe we'll try to get some on the show.
Yeah, you never know. That would be a good time.
Yeah, maybe we can revisit some of the older ones too, and talk to some of the folks.
Yeah,
it looks cool though.
Awesome.
It's a continuation of the original. It's weird because they had the movies and then they have that remake, which I believe they're doing a sequel to that remake. But the series is a continuation of the original film. So the kid is playing himself again, where he's still as an adult hunting down Chucky, which I actually like. Nice. I'm looking forward to.
That sounds good.
And Day of the Dead show starts tomorrow. He says yawn. I actually saw a couple people mention it wasn't. They said it wasn't very good, but I expect it's probably not. But
yeah, we'll have to see on that one.
I love zombies, but the thing is, at this point in time, you have to do something really original with zombies.
Yeah, and it's tough, especially if it's a series. Then I think that'll be difficult.
The thing is, like the Romero stuff totally lends into a series, but then you just everyone's going to compare it to The Walking Dead, where really The Walking Dead, they just kind of like, let's take the Romero zombies and make it into a ongoing story.
Yep.
So it's just a weird thing there. I think people will compare it to The Walking Dead, even though it's like predates The Walking Dead.
That's kind of what happens with certain things. That was always like what really made me angry about The Witcher, because they were going to do an Elric series of Elric of Melnibone.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's really similar to The Witcher. And it's like, well, yeah, it's because The Witcher ripped off all the Moorcock stuff from, 25 years before it. So, yeah.
I think The Walking Dead's really burnt the audience out on an ongoing zombie series.
That probably will, yeah.
It's really burnt me out. I mean, I'm a fan. I was a fan of The Walking Dead even past a lot of the seasons. People stopped liking. But I gotta say, this last season, it's really just dragging on. And then they've got all the spinoffs. They've like 2 spinoffs on, and then they've got like one coming, and then they've got the movie. And it seems like the wrong time to it's like the least amount of interest in The Walking Dead, and and they just want to keep putting more of it out.
Just crank it, yeah. I think the zombie series, well, Game of Thrones, they had their own zombies, right. And then there's the Korean show Kingdom, which they've got their own kind of unique take on zombies.
Yeah, I think you have to do something new.
Yeah,
you can't just kind of do the same old I like all that stuff, but it's just like it's not unique anymore.
Yeah.
That's I saw which is really cool. They're doing the Thrills and Chills at AMC every Wednesday and Thursday. And the first one I went to see, it was the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And I never liked the movie when it first came out. I watch it again, it's enjoyable. But I think it's just like a typical zombie movie. Yeah. There's nothing really unique about it.
I still like when you get the giant sea of zombies at the end, just seems so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, there's some fun zombie kills, and I guess the baby's unique, but I don't know. There's a zombie baby in Dead Alive.
Yeah,
but it was fun. I'll say it was. I had more fun watching it in the big screen than I remember watching it originally. But I still don't get the love of it, and I think watching it again, I kind of forgot about it. Trying to be the first time I watched it, I'm comparing it to original Dawn, which I think is the best zombie movie ever made. Yep. And so then it was like a big it besides being in a mall and being zombies, there's really no connection to the original Dawn of the Dead.
Agreed.
There's not really any social commentary, or I don't know. I don't really see much connection. It could have been said, that movie could have been said anywhere. They just happened to be in a mall.
Oh yeah.
There's no real story behind the mall in it.
No, that's just kind of where they all kind of seek shelter,
And AJ posted this on the Facebook group. Slumber Party Massacre movie Saturday night on Sci-Fi.
Oh wow. All right.
There's so many, because there's the new VHS, which kind of popped up out of nowhere. VHS.
Yep. I enjoyed it, I gotta say.
Yeah, we might be having some interviews for it coming up.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I haven't watched it. I need to watch it. That's cool.
I think you'll like it. It's because I think the other one, some of them were a little too short and they jumped around too much. This one, it seems like 3 or 4 a little bit longer stories.
Okay. I will say there are some of those ones, like the ABCs of Death. I think the stories are too short.
Yeah, sometimes you get that. And sometimes they fit just right. And then other times I think just trying to jumble too many in there, you get some that just kind of feel like filler. And then others you just want to be a little bit longer.
So yeah, there was the Slumber Party Massacre. And then there's also there was a new Sleepaway Camp.
Oh wow. All right, so October is still looking fun here. This is good.
So a friend of ours in the group, They've got their zombie movie, Plague of Zombies, American Invasion.
Ooh.
And that's getting a October 16th. I think it's just playing at one theater, maybe. I don't know. But go to plagueofzombie.com. We're probably going to have the cast and crew on the show at some point.
Nice.
World premiere is this Saturday. This is just nothing against these people, but you got to put where these things are. Oh, it's actually shown in New Bedford.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At the St. Martin's Episcopal Church. What a place to watch a horror movie.
I like it. I dig it. That's all right.
The 4:00 is sold out, but you can see the second showing at 7:00 this Saturday in New Bedford. You can still get tickets.
Wow.
Huh. Looks cool. Here, I'll show you the poster. Plague of Zombies, American Invasion.
Oh, I like the poster. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I might have. I'm sorry, guys. I got the date wrong because we were going to set up an interview, but I didn't realize it was like this weekend. So
Yeah.
and I'll be away tomorrow. But maybe if they get like a DVD release, we can do it before the DVD release or something.
Yeah.
Plague of Zombies, American Invasion. So thanks guys for sending that in. And this weekend is the deadline to send in the new your submissions for Severed Limbs 7 more days till Halloween.
Nice. All right, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, I got a few new ones just today, which I'll be adding up. But I think we're around 20.
Oh, nice.
So we got a couple more today, so that'll be a couple more. And so I assume probably 24, 25 I guess that'll make 24 now. So we're probably about 26 or so before it happens, I think.
Excellent.
We got I'll just run through them quick. A Day in the Life of a Serial Killer by Zach Myers. A Drop of Blood by Andrew Buckner. Dying to Laugh by Nicholas Hatch. Actually, you best just go and join the Facebook group and you can see all the films. There's 26 is a lot to mention.
That's a lot of them.
Black Vulture, Rats, Fear of the Woods, which is awesome, and a Darling Pet Monkey, which is really cool too. A lot of really cool stuff. There's a few long ones, few short ones. Transfer It, which I love. I don't want to say favorites or anything, but Transfer It is this time traveling Nazi horror film.
Oh wow!
I give it a big thumbs up. I say check it out.
I'll do it.
All right, so Halloween's coming up.
Halloween's coming.
My pumpkin head shirt.
Nice. I just saw on Sideshow Toys that they have an awesome pumpkin head statue. It's
really? I love pumpkin.
$1,200, but it's gorgeous. It's just really, really cool. I think it's like 1/3 scale, so it's probably like 2 feet tall. It's really, really cool looking.
Damn, that sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah. Go to Sideshow, check it out.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'll be going to a 12-hour marathon on Halloween. And before that, me, you, and I don't know who else is going. And we're going to
Leatherface.
We're going to see, what is it? Invisible Man or is it Dracula and Frankenstein?
No, it's a double feature of Claude Rains. So
nice.
The Invisible Man and the Wolf Man.
Oh, sweet. 2 of my favorites.
Yep. And I don't know if Brian's ever seen either one. So
really? Invisible.
Yep.
Wolfman's one of my favorites, and I think Invisible Man is the most underrated of the. I mean, people like it, but to me, it's the most underrated of the Universal monster movies.
Oh yeah, yep. I mean, Rains is just so awesome in that movie, just because they just kind of let him go crazy, which I don't think in any other movie like Claude Rains. He's always pretty subdued in most of his roles. Like as the dad in the Wolfman, he's He's very British, very like
Yeah,
uptight.
super over the top, Invisible Man. I mean, that's kind of the start, I think, of the horror comedy, because you can almost call it a horror comedy.
It definitely is. You're right. You're right. And you got that I can't remember the old lady's name, but who was in Bride of Frankenstein, and then she's the pub owner there of, and she jumps up and
Yeah,
nice.
So that's one of my favorites of the Slasher Man designs.
Yep, that one's beautiful. Even the moon's afraid of me. Look at it. It's terrifying. Come on, Reigns. He's the man.
By the way, if you're listening to the podcast, I just showed the Invisible Man Slasher Man 8-bit retro gaming design. You get that at tpublic.com/user/without your head.
Do it.
Boom. I got to get those up on the website, I guess, too.
Yeah, those things are awesome. I love them.
Yeah, fun making them. Oh, by the way, amazing new logo that Troy did the art for, and I did the coloring for Severed Limb 7.
Yep, that one I love the look of. Got to get me a shirt of that one.
Yeah, I should order them, actually, so we can get them hopefully in time before it. But we can wear it any time.
Yeah, yep.
But here's that one. This is the Severed Limb 7 More Days to Halloween. You got Troy as the Pumpkinhead, me as the Skeleton Man, which is perfect because I'll be wearing that. And then Trista as the witch, which I didn't think about at the time, but it's, it's kind of hard, I guess, to make them like look like us because they all have full masks on.
Yeah, I was thinking I could have us with the masks above our heads, but then it wouldn't, we wouldn't be able to be carrying the bags or anything.
Yeah, I think it looks cute. I love it. We've got plenty with our faces. So.
That's true. You know us. I can always do another one with us.
Exactly. Thumbs up for me.
All right, excellent. Me too. Good coloring job. Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, I do apologize to AJ when he was down in the Cape. We didn't get a chance to meet him, but no excuse. We should have done it. But we'll go at some point. I know Craig Lindbergh's currently in somewhere in Massachusetts until December. He must be working on a movie.
Oh, did he go back? Is he in P-Town? Where he was
No, I think he's in Boston, near Boston.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll do something. Last week, the Thrills and Chills. It's cool if you have I guess it's not at all AMCs, because some of the AMCs I saw that I go to up in Boston don't have it, but the one in Boston Commons does. And last week we went, it was the new Halloween, which not Halloween Kills, but the previous Halloween. And I just thought, like, it's like so new, like I still have memory of seeing it in the theater. So it was, I'll be honest, a little bit of a letdown that was the movie. Even if it's a movie I'm not big on, if I hadn't seen it for a while, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know I know Train to Busan was one, but I don't know what this last week was. I saw the one next week is almost a 3-hour movie. So I don't know or the 29th. So got to be some long ass movie. I remember looking up the different movies it could be. I'm going to guess it's The Shining.
The Shining? Okay. I'm going to go with
I don't think The
Wailing.
Shining was quite that long. The Wailing. That was the one that was almost the exact time. So that one might be it.
And if it is, I think you're in for a treat because you haven't seen it. I really enjoyed it. I think you'll do.
I keep thinking The Shining because I think it's mainstream, but I mean the Train to Busan is not really mainstream movie either. So
right. Only the ones you go see, the Friday ones. The Wednesday ones are a little wackier, I think.
Supposedly, the rumor is that they're gonna do like one that's like a new release before it releases.
That would be tremendous.
Tomorrow's is Antlers.
Oh, that would be so good. Then I'll be a little envious.
Yeah, that's why I was also curious if Wednesdays was Halloween Kills. Like maybe they put it out a day before. But I don't know. I know some people think it's going to be Scream 5, but that doesn't come out till like next February or something. So it's like they're not going to put something out. Like,
it's probably, they're still making the movie,
Yeah, that one's too. And that's like a real big, not that Halloween Kills wouldn't be either, but currently I don't see Antlers playing anywhere. But I know it's still a few weeks away, but it's supposed to come out the 29th, but it's not listed anywhere. It kind of sucked. I was going to go Wednesday and I didn't, but so I was looking. I have to assume, we have a couple of theaters that show old movies, so they're going to show horror movies all October. So I looked up the Brattle, and the Brattle, it was showing this old Aubrey Hepburn movie, which is fine, but I was like, come on, guys, you got to show a horror movie for October.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you think even throw in some old Hitchcock flicks or something.
Yeah, there's like a plethora of movies.
Yeah.
Old Universal Monster movie, a Hitchcock
Oh,
movie, anything, something stupid like the Blob. It could be. It's limitless.
Oh yeah. One of like the crazy, Japanese monster movies. Throw like a Godzilla up there.
Yeah. So there's not a ton of theatrically released new horror movies this month, but you've got Antlers, Halloween Kills, but there's so much stuff streaming. It's hard to keep up with. But we should be better.
Every time I look, I think they've added even more stuff.
Yeah. So that's very exciting. Very exciting too. Suspiria, that's AJ's guess, Suspiria.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Nice. I can see it being that. Could be either one, the original or the remake.
Yep.
That's a remake I actually think is really good.
I agree. I think I love Tilda in that, but I always love Tilda. She's great.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a classic. I agree.
Yep. Yeah, but it's not 3 hours long, is it?
I hope not. I like it, but I don't think I need a 3-hour cut.
No.
I know they're putting out the director's cut of Rocky 4. Maybe there'll be a director's cut of Killer Tomatoes of 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, that would be different.
I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Anything else there, my brother, my pal, my amigo, my compadre?
Not that I can think of, boss. I think we had a fun show. I've enjoyed it.
We did. It was very good. I Spit on Your Grave, 3-disc, 4K, ultra high def remaster coming out on the 26th.
That's a lot of like extra gizmos and things.
Limited edition slipcover. It's got all kinds of stuff. The Growing Up, I Spit on Your Grave Blu-rays on there. You can watch that documentary currently on Tubi, but nice. If you want like a nice cut without ads. We've been posting some new trailers on the Without Your Head YouTube here too, so you can watch the new trailer for Antlers is on here, Scream 5, and I just put up this morning Black Phone with Ethan Hawke, which this one looks really cool too.
Oh, nice.
New horror movie. Yeah, they've been sending us some horror trailers. By the way, if you send me a horror trailer, I put up on the Without Your Head YouTube. It doesn't have to be a big movie. It can be, independent film. That's cool.
Yep.
So do that up. Just email withoutyourhead@gmail.com. All right. Also check out Sam Haynes. He's got a new he's former Music of the Month here. He's got a new CD out, The Haunted House Party.
Oh, very good.
Cool. Check that out. And big thanks to 2 Minute Cage, who does our theme song, and Kim Trails and the Tonk Wave, who does the new theme for the new Dinner in a Movie. Neil and Anna.
I love that song. I thought that was awesome.
It's very fun.
Yep.
Very good. And I also did a shirt for them, which is gazelling really big, which made me very happy.
Excellent.
All right, Troy.
Well, there's all good things happening. This is what I like to hear.
I agree. What shirt do you have on tonight?
I've got the old
school, terrible Troy. That's very
the
good
old
one.
School terrible Troy.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm going to start getting some of the old shirts back up on the sale site. I like that one. I like these. I like how the shirt, used to be back in the day, you'd have to buy all these shirts and you'd have mountains of shirts around and you didn't know, like, sometimes I'd go to convention, you'd sell a lot of 5 and 6Xs, so then I wouldn't get smalls. And the next one, you'd sell all smalls and mediums, and all I'd have is 5 and 6Xs. And it's like, oh, shit, then I got to bring them around and set them out. But nowadays, it's easier for me. It's easier for everybody else. You can go to the site and you say, well, I don't want a black one. I want a red one. I want a blue one. I want an orange one. I want a pink one. Pick whatever you want, any size you want, different types. I know Dave Van, he got the ultra soft. He's like, I'm a fancy lad. I don't want the old hard, cotton. I want the fancy silk it's like silk. It's not silk.
Oh,
Super soft. So the point is, you can get whatever you want. You get stickers, buttons, masks. You get a pillow. Bam.
get it all.
Yeah, and it ships to you. They make it. They send it to you. Exactly. AJ, he says I should just zoom in next time. Yeah, next week we'll get AJ on the show. I don't think he's ever zoomed in with us.
No, I've always wanted him to.
Yeah.
I haven't had the pleasure.
Yeah, we'll start opening up the Zooms because I think after the interviews we'll start doing this where we come and talk about stuff again, and then we'll take some Zoom calls.
That sounds good to me.
All right. So until next week, this is Nasty Neil.
This is Terrible Troy.
And this is Without
Your
Head.